Well, good morning, everybody. We are out here going to get our daily routine done today, and today we're going to do a couple things different. I have got a big bucket full of ash, an actual trash can full of ash from our wood stove. I'm going to spread it around in our garden, in our yard. Got to do the regular chores. We're going to start a bunch of cuttings off of elderberry and grape. I got to get firewood carried into the shop. We have a major cold spell coming in, like record cold for us. I know you guys up north are laughing at us, but we're going to have like a high of 20 and the low around like 0 and 2 degrees, and that's pretty cold for us. So we are going to get ready for that. The next few days I will be just probably inside my shop and house doing projects. Show you guys the fish. They want to come up and eat. Just fed them. They're kind of slow to get started, and here comes the ducks. Anyhow, so we are gonna get all the chores done. I'll do, like I say, some elderberry cuttings and some grape cuttings. We're going to get them started. I've started my peppers and tomatoes already inside because I like them to kind of get a little bit bigger. I'm going to start some onion seeds, and I got a few little trees and stuff like that we're going to get started. So I'll be working on that today as well. Just a lot of little projects that need to get done. We have like I say, a really cold spell coming, and with that cold snap, we've got to make sure that all our water is good, that we don't have any hoses hooked up that are going to freeze, just everything like that, stuff that can cause damage, and we don't want to have any long-term problems because we didn't do something. So I got to undo stuff. So water right here that it hooks to my trees, and we had to get it undone. Just try to make sure we got everything to where we're not going to have any damage when the storm comes, and get all the hoses unhooked, and make sure that we got plenty of water for our animals, and we come and dump hot water out on them every day. But I gotta, like I say, today do some grapes. I want to check and see the progress of what's been taking place with my mulch out on the garden. The other day I showed you guys a video where I took and I dumped some seeds. We grow a little bit of wheat, and then I get screenings from people. It's like the substandard wheat seeds that don't make the cut, and they kind of throw them away. So I got a couple farmers I get them from, and I get stuff that's not been sprayed, pretty decent stuff. And that's kind of what I feed when the stuff that we don't raise ourselves, and it kind of helps with our animals. So, but I dumped that out on this wheat the other day, and I'm going to show you guys how them square hunks of the wheat, they got it all spread out. You can see they've got it completely mulched down, and there's all the little workers. Anyhow, so that works, and they go out there, they pick through the seeds, they do a really good job. And if I get a little bit of wheat stuff growing in my garden, I don't really care, because I end up planting clover in between my plants, and I literally go out there with a mower and a push mower with a bag on it, and I mow that stuff down, and it basically gives me a living walkway through, but that keeps weeds from growing up, and it also puts nitrogen into the soil. I don't ever want to have bare soil out there in the summertime, so having a little bit of other stuff growing, it doesn't really matter to me. So anyhow, we're gonna get started on chores. Like I say, I gotta carry firewood to the shop. I'm gonna do elderberries and grapes. I've got all this ash I need to spread, and I don't do soil testing. The piece of property we own was wheat field that they didn't really care about. They planted the wheat to keep the cotton from taking over, or the weeds from getting into the cotton. Pardon me on that deal. So they just planted it. They never fertilized it. They never did anything with it, and they pretty much depleted the land. So a lot of people are like, oh, you got to get your soil tested and see what it needs. I'm in the process right now. I know that my soil needs stuff, but I want organic matter. I'm trying to build my soil into something that holds moisture, is more porous, has worms, stuff like that. So I'm adding all the organic matter that I possibly can to my soil to make it a more loamy type soil, because we got a kind of a clay soil here, and like it's really hard. There's times you can't even drive a T-post into it. So a lot of the stuff that I'm adding, people are going to think, oh, you're getting carried away. And no, I'm actually trying to build the soil up to where it's a softer soil. It has better water retention, irrigation to where when we go through the drought periods of time out here, we actually have more water. And wood ash has tons of minerals in it, so I try to spread that out there, and then it'll all equal out as we do all the compost and everything else. So I'm gonna get started on this stuff, and I'll see you guys here in a little bit. All right, so we got that part done. Now you see that I just go out there and I throw it around. There's probably a lot better methods to do that. You probably ought to wear some safety gear. You know, I'm kind of one of those safety third kind of guys, and lungs aren't really overrated. So like, don't be one of them people like my grandma always said, do what I say and not what I do. Don't do a 20-mile-an-hour day, and don't not do it without a respirator. However, we are full on our bucket, and we're going to be burning a lot of firewood over this next week. I had to get it emptied and need it done, so here we are. So we'll get the firewood carried, and then we'll get to trimming back some grapes and some elderberries, and I'll show you guys how I start my new ones. So I'm out here on my elderberry bushes, and I'm going to show you guys kind of what we do. And to do this, it's really easy. They start really easy. So all you're going to need is a pair of little pruners, and what I do is I'm going to come out here and I'm going to cut these things where I have 3 sets of lobes. I've got 1, 2, and 3. This one's actually got 4. You can see the bottom of that is green. So I want to make sure that there's some green in there, and I'm going to cut this side at an angle. When I have this side cut at an angle, I know that's the part that goes in the ground. Now all I got to do is put some root hormone on this. I soak mine in water in a jar for a few days, and then they'll start to root, and you want to keep them cool. You don't want to put them like under sunlight at first, because then they'll grow tops and not bottoms. So we want to keep them like this in the water in a cool spot for a few days, and you'll see them start to root. When they start to root, put them underneath a light and some dirt, and before long you'll have a bunch of elderberries. And this is pretty much all there is to it. I'll show you a couple more, and you can see I'm going off that same one. Cut the top flat where I know what's top. I've got 3 prongs. The bottom one is at an angle, and that's pretty much all there is to this part of it. And then we stick them in the dirt, and we're good to go. It's really easy way to get a whole bunch of elderberry plants. Just when you make sure you have green, because if you don't have green in there, you'll see that if you don't have the green, they're a dead branch, and the dead branch ain't gonna grow. All right, so we're doing grapes. I'm at my grapevines, and they get long and straggly and kind of in the way, so we are going to cut just like we did with the elderberries. We're going to find where we have 1, 2, 3 buds. We want to make sure that the inside is fresh and green. As long as we do that, we're good to go. So I like to get on the parts of my grapes that are kind of stringy and in the way and need trimmed anyhow. So I'll cut them. And like here, I've got a big long section, and you can see it is super green on the inside. So we're gonna cut it off, and I've got 1, 2, 3 buds. So I'm gonna cut that bottom one off just because it's kind of awkward. Cut it flat at an angle on the bottom. Cut the little tail runners off. Cut it flat. And we'll dip these in root hormone. We'll soak them in a glass jar for several days. Again, I don't put them under a light really. I put them kind of close to where my light is. And I let them kind of start to establish roots. I don't put a lot of heat on them or a lot of light on them, and they'll establish roots. If you don't, they'll start growing out the top instead of the bottom. So we establish our roots first, and then once they start to root, I'll take them out and put them in some potting soil and let them soak in there for a little while. And then as they establish and start to leaf out, then I transplant them, and that's how we go. So this is a good way to get a bunch of free grapes, a bunch of free elderberries. So this is kind of how my day goes. You know, I get my chores done, and then I go pick up my project for the day. Today it's transplanting and starting new grapes and elderberries. So I hope these videos are entertaining for you guys and that you learn something. If not, you can at least learn how not to breathe, because I'm full of crap from all that ash. But I appreciate you guys. Please go to our website, help support us. If you guys would buy t-shirts, hats, any of our fly fishing stuff, this is what we're going to be doing from now on. So we appreciate all that. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we will see you guys in the next video.